forum does not reflect the official opinion of the Corn Mafia Guild. Rather, it serves as a platform for members and guests to express their individual perspectives and opinions. We hope to create an environment where a variety of topics and conversations can take place, ultimately enriching the experience of our members and guests. We value and respect diverse opinions, and we encourage all to engage in respectful discourse.
Did you hear that? Fryler's got some technical difficulties.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I would never have technical difficulties. That's not me.
Sounds like you got a fan or something running in the background. Hey, today's Twitter space.
Let me take care of that real quick.
It's all his fans in the background. I'm supposed to fill in the empty space while he's figuring out what's going on. Who knows what's going on? I hope everybody's doing good today. Today's topic is whatever we want to talk about and a bunch of crap. 60 minutes of bullshit. That's all right. You back yet, Fryler?
Yep, I'm back. How's my audio? Can you still hear my fans in the background?
No. You're all set.
Good.
You're all set now. Nice and clean. How's my audio? Is it loud enough? Scruffy said it wasn't loud enough the other day. I boosted it a little bit.
It does sound good. Yeah.
All right.
It sounds good.
Where is Scruffy?
Yeah.
Pull Scruffy up.
Scruffy? What do you mean, where is Scruffy? Scruffy's
He's requesting.
right here as always.
There he is. There's Scruffy.
But yeah, good morning. How you doing today, Stein?
I'm doing good, man. Today's a good day. You know, it's cold outside, but it's good. I don't know why it's so damn cold, but whatever. It must be from Canada. Old Canada. I don't know how that song goes, there, Anthony, but something like that.
You're spot on so far, yeah. For the parts I know.
Yeah, man. We really didn't have any idea about what we wanted to talk about this week when we were talking about what we wanted to talk about.
Yeah. It's like a mixture of we're both really busy with in real life obligations at the moment, and then also there's just, in a way, less news, less current events kind of going on with the general crypto space, and then also I know Cornucopias has a lot working behind the scenes, but there's been a little less
little less
activity.
Yeah, well, after you and Scruffy's 60 minutes of looking through the 8 minutes of clip or 9 minutes of clip the other day. Not much to talk about.
60 minutes of looking through 9 minutes.
Well, we talked about it, and then you guys, you and Scruffy did a collab on that. It was pretty good, though.
Well,
I enjoyed the whole
credit
thing.
is due. That was on Scruffy's channel, but yeah, it was very kind of him to ask me to come in and
he didn't ask
make
me.
a fool of myself.
Scruffy didn't ask me. He doesn't ask me.
He probably wishes he would have after the fact.
But, it's really weird because, when you're watching something like that, I was getting frustrated just as much as Scruffy was because, like, you're not really playing the game. You're watching a stream of the game, a recording of the game. So every time you want to turn to see something, you can't. It's like, fuck, I can't turn. Rob, turn. I want go over there.
Yeah,
I want to see what that sign is. It's like because you nicky the character there while you're watching it, and then you can't do shit. Oh boy! Oh, we got Eric here today.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Empire. Hey, what's going on,
Morning,
Kev?
Scruff Master.
Oh,
and to the rest of the beautiful audience.
Yeah,
of course.
everyone's here. Who else is here? Grim. Oh, Grim's here today. He doesn't usually show up, or does he? I don't know.
Grim's a usual. This is, oh man, these are all the regulars.
Yeah. Yeah, we didn't get a big crowd. I didn't put a title that was like really inviting. It's like, oh boy, they're just going to talk about whatever they want to talk about.
Whatever. Oh my God, I can't wait.
I can't wait.
You guys said that it was slow, and I kind of thought, man, we got a ton of stuff to talk about, honestly. First of all, you mentioned it. Part of me wish, not that I would have not had Fryler, but I would have also asked you to hop in because a great majority of what we saw in that video had to do with branding. And I know that that is your area of expertise. And I'm curious to hear your thoughts on the branding that we saw in the video, because as Freiler pointed out, I think they said they developed like 50 different brands. And
yeah, they didn't use all the brands. I think they're keeping them quiet because I could only detect like maybe 8 or 9, and they just kept reusing them. But it was only a small section too. It was only coming down from downstairs upstairs to one room. And, it wasn't like you guys. They wasn't like they walked around a lot. So there could have been more branding in other spots. But I thought the branding was.
What you saw?
Oh, I thought the branding was good. I'm wondering if that branding is something that is going to be able to be paid for. Like if we want to put a banner up for Corn Mafia Guild, can we take over one of those banners for the artificial soft drink that they,
I would
have?
guess that yeah. In fact, I saw a Crypto Crow video yesterday, and he was talking about the same thing. And I was immediately thinking it as we were walking through there. I'm like, oh man, I want a big Scruffy gaming poster up there, or billboard or whatever. So I certainly think that you touched on the fact that there was a lot of repetition in there. And I think as sponsors, real life sponsors come into the game, I think some of those will be replaced.
Yeah, I think so too. But yeah, I don't know how much it's going to cost. But it is a way for them to make more money, which is good. I mean, might as well make money.
Yeah, it just
might as well make money on the game you're spending money to make.
Definitely. I think the advertisement is pretty genius, and it kind of it reminds me of a question that Seven asked us this morning, and he's not in here yet. I don't know if he's gonna make an appearance this morning.
I wouldn't worry about him.
So I'll move forward with this question and not wait for him to come ask it then, which was, what, how can creatives or people, who are making content and stuff like that, use the resources available in Cornucopias? And I think advertisement could potentially be, one of those big use cases. So I'm definitely happy to own a dome to get some access to advertisement space or reduced advertisement cost, things like that. I think could be incredibly lucrative in the game.
Right. Well, you gotta look at the size of the posters and the size of the boards, right? So if they're going to charge currency, whatever currency they'll be using for selling stuff, if they're going to be doing that, I can't see it's going to be very cheap, man. I don't know if the normal person, I don't know if somebody like Scruffy or 2 Week Links or your channel or anybody will have enough money to purchase some advertising unless it's rotatable, unless it's rotating like at a baseball game or something like that. You know what I'm talking about?
Well, I mean, and they totally could, right? I mean, there's no reason to stay rigid with it. It could be a rotating advertisement in the same space. But I was going to say maybe in the city and stuff, it would be more expensive and you're only going to see bigger brands able to afford it there. But we get advertising credits with our custom dome. So maybe that's just a billboard on the side of a super highway in the sky. But I think there's still going to be a way for even us smaller guys to get in there too.
Yeah. And I also think that there will be different levels, right? As you mentioned, there's different sizes, right? We saw some smaller billboards up a little further away, and then we saw the giant, huge ones as you're walking up towards the steps. Those are probably not going to be the same price. Also, as we know in real life, location. So there will probably be some high traffic areas that are definitely going to be very expensive. And there may be some lower traffic areas, some that they're having a hard time, selling, that people can get for a little less.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a very big space. I mean, you could see the map, kind of. You could see the map of that section. Plus, it's a big dome, and they got that railway going over it, and they got subway advertising and stuff like that. It's same with like when I lived in New York. It's like, okay, you go to Broadway, you see these big things for Minolta and whatever, Sony pictures and all that stuff that they used to have. But then you get on the subway and you see, a local dentist in Flushings who has enough money to put up a sign on the subway. So,
and Jared,
so it's all about like location, like you said, But advertising is advertising, and it's not going to be cheap for anybody because you don't know if your advertising is going to work. And when I had my business, that was the thing there. It's like, well, the internet's the thing, and we also got to look at this is the internet, so it is good advertising, and it's different from a regular billboard or something that you would see on a highway or something like that, because most of I would think a lot of the businesses like our content creating, your channel Scruff and yours Freiler, that it's all internet based. So hopefully those signs will be clickable. It's like, oh, this is pretty cool on the subway. I can click to this and just immediately go to wherever. And to your point, it's also hitting the target audience, right? Because the people that we're wanting to watch, it's very laser focused. These are the same kinds of people that we're wanting to advertise to. So I agree. I do think it's probably, you probably get a decent return on investment for that. Not only that, but they've shown in the past that generally speaking, the earlier adopters get a little better deal. Mm-hmm. If you're in early, sometimes you can get grandfathered into, I don't know how they're going to work their contracts, weekly, monthly, yearly, however, whatever. But I do know that they have shown a tendency to give earlier adopters better returns, like in the staking pools and such. Right. I'm wondering if we can get analytics on this. I wonder if they're going to be sharing the analytics for.
I can't imagine they wouldn't. Absolutely. In this day and age,
then you can just start your own advertising company right in the metaverse.
I think that would be a heck of a business for you, sir.
No, yeah. Oh no, I don't want to work anymore.
Just keep advising your friends for free.
I don't want to work anymore, but it is a good idea. So if you guys think about if you're into advertising and you know anything about advertising, I think that would probably be a big moneymaker, or at least a moneymaker. I don't know how big it would be, but there's a lot of advertising. Every one of those buildings had advertising, and the subways will have advertising. There'll be a lot of stuff, and people may not know how to go about choosing the right area to put their business in or their sign in, because that was one of the things in my business is like, well, how do we know that this will be found? And it's not a guarantee that somebody's going to see your sign and click on it, or see your advertising and click on it. So that's where analytics come in and stuff like that. So it's a full-time job. I'll say that. You know what I'm saying? Know what I'm saying?
Yep, I feel you.
So
I do.
Yeah. So it'd be a good job for somebody if they know what they're doing in advertising. So.
Or just somebody who's good and very proficient with analytics. Google Analytics has been out there for years for Web 2 type stuff. I would assume that they'll either have something built in that, you can maybe access in the dashboard or something like that, maybe in the launcher, maybe on the website dashboard, or they will use a third-party service in which you can get all of that data by them plugging into Cornucopia's API or something.
Yeah. Well, the thing about, I don't want to get too far off track. Actually,
I was going to say, we're getting a little too on subject here.
Well, that's okay. That's okay. We're talking about whatever.
Let's talk about whatever and crap.
Yeah, let's bring it back to whatever.
This is whatever right now, but I'm going to start talking about the crap section for 2 minutes. Okay, so right. You have your advertising company, right? Then you need your graphic designers to design the sign. You need the people to work on analytics. You need a salesperson. Then you need to promote your own company. Else people are not going to be able to find you to have you have them found. So there's a lot of moving parts, and it's not easy for one person to do. So it would most likely be a team of people like the Corn Mafia Guild. Corn Mafia Guild could do something like that. The Knights could do something like that. So, we could start our own advertising. Actually, we already have one, don't we? Who's in charge of that? Oh, that's me. Oh, shit.
Wait, that's you. We should elect Stein.
Yeah,
we
the guy who doesn't want to work anymore is in charge of the department that is going to require a lot of work.
Well, that's all right.
How did that happen?
I don't know. I don't mind working on Corn Mafia stuff. Because Corn Mafia stuff is fun, But yeah, we have a ton of people. That's a good thing about having a guild is you have a ton of people you can call on to help you and
you can delegate.
Things. Right, and then we have a whole group of people in our Twitter that can run tweets and stuff for advertising for the advertising company, and hey.
You got meme wizards like Empire.
Yeah, well, Empire's. I think she's is Empire a free agent? What's going on? I don't know what's going on.
Well, I mean, she serves the greater corn community. You know what I mean?
Well, hey, listen. If people are making money and then sharing it, that's the best way to keep people involved with your company is to give them money. That's what I heard. That's what I heard through the grapevine.
Send it to Handle Freiler.
Pay your employees well and often, and they will stay with you. So
damn, I've been doing it wrong this whole time. Maybe that's why I don't have any employees.
Yeah, dang it. I wish all my employers had heard this too.
I've been doing
this
it.
This is recorded, right?
Yeah.
It comes with a whole bunch of problems when you have employees, and it got too much for me, so I sold out.
That's why you have independent contractors.
Yes,
and you just 1099 them.
Yeah. Yes, independent contractors. Absolutely. We did that. We actually did that quite a bit with stuff we found online, actually like Fiverr and stuff like that when we needed voiceovers for videos, Be like, well, we'll just hire.
Fiverr is a great source.
It is. It's great. I mean, just hire somebody to do it. I mean, now we have AI, like the woman who talks in the beginning of this Twitter space. That's just AI. That's not even a real person. You just drop your text in there and tell them how you want to talk. There you go. So AI is going to be involved a lot.
It's so much of business is like that, right? Just delegated to somebody else. You're like, I landed this contract. I'm going to pay you to do the work while I take a lot of the money.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. In business, you really want to hire people that are better than you. That's what you want. You want people that know more about a single subject than you. I mean, you can have a broader idea of what you want to do, and that's your idea, and that's why you come up with it and start a business. But then, hey, I don't know about IT department. I don't know about this. I don't know about graphic design. Well, let me just hire these people. They know what the hell they're doing.
Yeah.
So, there you go. That's what it's all about. Hiring people that know more than you. And if you do that and you pay them well, you make a lot of money. Or you could potentially make a lot of money.
Know what I'm saying?
No dead space.
Well, speaking of making a lot of money, another topic I thought of when I saw this headline, there's a company out there that makes a lot of money called Ledger. But they've been mired in some controversy, as I was informed by Freiler last night. And I wasn't sure if that was something people wanted to chime in on or not. But I read up on it a little bit, and I thought I'd just kind of put it out there when you guys were talking about not a lot of news lately.
Well, I would go ahead with it. Run with it, man. Run with it. Let us know what's going on.
Well, as I understand it, they now have essentially a subscription service for $10 a month that will help manage your keys. And the way it works, if I understand it correctly, is they split your keys into 3 different encrypted files hosted with 3 different companies. Ledger's one of them, and then they have a couple of other partners that host the key. And should you ever lose your seed phrase, you can contact two of those companies and be able to digitally recover your keys. Now, a lot of people have given a lot of backlash saying that kind of essentially circumvents the purpose of what blockchain and DeFi and crypto and all that stuff is, because it's somewhat centralized. Again, it is a three-prong approach, so it's a little different than like one company having your keys, but theoretically breaches still could happen. And in this scenario, they would have to breach 2 out of the 3 at one time. So my guess is their thinking is, what are the odds that those 2 are going to happen at the same time and then be able to put it together and match it? I think the odds are pretty slim, but that being said, I can understand the backlash. And Freiler, I'll let you chime in on that part, and then we can discuss the onboarding that you and I kind of talked about briefly.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, I would just, and I'm no technical genius, but I did listen to the space that they had, and we were answering community questions and concerns, and I had the same concerns too as a Ledger user. So it sounds like in the scenario where there was a breach, you would need to give consent on your device still, in order to have those stitched back together on the device. So I think that they would still need to have your physical hardware. So even if there was a data breach and your shards did somehow get compromised and they could break that encryption, they would need your physical hardware. So I don't imagine a large scale theft scenario. Again, and if somebody has any information to the contrary, please feel free to bring it forward. But that was my 100%. Takeaway.
That's the same thing I read. And so, yeah, essentially they would have to have 3 pieces. They'd have to have the hardware piece. They'd have to be able to contact 2 of your companies. So I think it's like you said, large scale attack would be ridiculously impossible. I'll just say,
yeah. They'd have to have that all.
I'll caution the people that,
right? They'd have to have that encrypted.
Yes.
So
it is encrypted.
It'd be impossible. It'd be virtually impossible unless you come, in with a quantum computer or something like that. But then,
So, and here's like kind of the crutch of the new FUD storm that we're going to start seeing. For those of you that haven't like entirely kept up on it, the CEO even came back on after he had stepped down after answering questions and stuff, because of the 3,000 people in the space, 3 people came up during the entire hour to ask any questions. And maybe there was technical difficulties on the side of Twitter that prevented some people from raising their hand. But still, there was a very small number of people that actually came up to voice any concern. And the CEO had to come back on and say, hey, look, like, we're answering your questions, but I still see so many people being toxic in the thread. Like, if you have something to say, if you have a concern, come voice it. Let us address it. But people refused to, they just wanted to keep spewing toxic information because they were scared.
Fudders are going to FUD,
so,
right? I don't know. I think it's a good idea. I think it's a good idea.
I agree. So just real quick, though, for the people that keep seeing things, because it's scary, man. When you see someone that's got a huge following, and I've seen some people that I'm like, what? This guy's fudding it to that degree? I just expect them to look into it a little more. You know what I mean? Because when you have a huge following and you say, Ledger's dead, throw it away, so many people are going to read that and take it at face value. Like they look up to you for information. They're probably not going to investigate further. This guy, you're taking it that he probably did. You know what I mean? So at the end of the space, the last guy that was asking questions was really drilling them. Everyone else was like, hey, is there a new attack vector? And they're like, no, you would have to consent. Nothing's going to happen. If you don't want this service, don't opt in. It's probably not for you. That's great. This is for a certain set of people. And it sounds like we're going to move into that in a second. But the very last person kept drilling in, like, is there a new attack vector? Is there a new attack vector? Could this happen? Could this happen? And he'd ask like 9 questions at once, and they'd start to answer one, and he'd be like, no, answer the other one. And he was really being pretty combative. And in the end, the software engineer is like, well, if I opt in, is there an attack vector? And he's like, well, yes, yes, if you opt in and you go and you KYC, and there's things that you could do on the end of the user that could create a new attack vector, but there's not one being created on the ledger. And so I see everybody saying that he said at the end that he admitted there's a new attack vector. And I wanted to clarify that even though you might be reading that, that's not what he said. And he had tried to clarify several times that They're not creating one on the ledger side, even though, to Scruffy's point, there could be new attack vectors created, you know what I mean? Through, someone could steal your device, breach the technology, quantum computer, hold you at gunpoint and get your PIN. There are attack vectors, but Ledger's not introducing a new one through this feature.
Well, if they got it all split up, you got to think, if you had most people, I can't say most because I don't know, but I'm saying for myself, and but a lot of people don't keep their seed phrase split up within 3 different people. They keep it in a fireproof safe or something, or in a safety deposit box or whatever. And that may not feel safe to them. I mean, what happens? What happens if your house burns down? Is that fireproof safe really that good? Will it protect that little piece of paper you got in there, or, the metal tablet, or whatever you're putting it on? What if you're in another country, or what if you moved, or your safe got, whatever. I mean, I think it's good for a backup. I don't think anybody's going to... How the hell are they going to find you to get your physical thing? And, it's really, I
think it's also important to note, too, before we get too far, that they give you the option to spin up your own node and choose your own custodians. So you don't even have to use theirs if you wanted. So it's just an option. Maybe in the future that'll be a lot easier and more accessible to people. But I think you're right. For people that don't have the wherewithal or are scared to store their own seed phrase, I think I mentioned it to Scruffy last night. Like, I've talked to lots of people that keep their crypto on an exchange because they're afraid to move it. They're afraid to lose it. And they don't want to, when I start explaining the seed phrase and, taking self-custody, like, they get scared of that, So I think having this option for people is fantastic.
Well, and I think it's very important as well as people are reading information and all of this. You said it earlier, and I just want to hit the point home. It is an opt-in. You do not have to do this. This is an option. In fact, you have to pay an extra $10 a month to do it.
Oh, that's nice.
Fragler brought
so
up
it's not going to happen by accident.
Right?
No. You're not going to accidentally have this happen. You have to physically go do stuff to make that happen. And I agree with Fragler. If they can make it easier, and I don't know that this does, to tell you the truth. I know this is the goal, but I don't know that it does because I haven't run through the process yet. Will I try it out? Sure. Will I stay with it? Probably not. I'll do it for science sake, just so that I can inform the public. But
yeah, I like
we'll
that.
see if it's easier or not. But let's just go ahead and assume that it is, that it's a step that makes it easier for people to onboard. I do believe that it's safer under this system than being on a crypto exchange, especially 100%. Since when Coinbase's stock had dropped 40% in a few months last summer. They were talking about that they could actually use your assets to pay off debts should they go into bankruptcy, meaning your assets, because they technically hold the keys to the wallet. That scared the ever-living piss out of me when I heard that, okay? That's the day that I bought a ledger, just to let you guys know. So do I think this system is better than having it on a centralized exchange? 1,000%. Do I think it'll lead the way for more onboarding? That remains to be seen. I'm hopeful because, as we know, and Fragler pointed this out in our call the other day, adoption is key. This is going to be the key to the next bull run, whether it's, storage devices, whether it's games, whether it's buying Bitcoin. All of those things are bringing people to this space, and the more adoption, the more growth.
Absolutely.
Yeah, everybody wins with that.
Yep. I don't know. It's a backup. It's a easy on ramp.
Yeah, I think we need a solution like this too, and I think that there may come a day too, and I alluded to this in our call earlier too, and I may be entirely wrong, but I've always thought about it that we needed a solution like this because when you think about the process, like you said, Stein, not everyone goes and does their full due diligence. A lot of us have it written in pen on paper, hopefully backed up in a couple locations. Hopefully you have a fireproof copy. But, a lot of people don't go through all those fail safes. So one day, what if we had most of the world using crypto, and it becomes well known that in every home, near every computer, there's a book, there's a passphrase somewhere in this home that would give me access to that whole family's finance without having to go through any other hoops. You know what I mean? Like Seven said, right now, if you wanted to go rob someone, you're probably gonna have to like get them to go to their bank and withdraw their money. You know what I mean? But if everyone in the world knew that we all kept our seed phrases in our homes and they could come take all of our money, and all of our money was in crypto, I imagine a bad scenario, you know?
Yeah.
So there's got to be some sort of solution that helps you safeguard and keep this in a trustless, secure manner.
Maybe not so much here in America because everybody has guns, but in other countries it might be.
And I do, for anybody listening that knows I have a ledger in my home.
Yeah, everybody has guns.
Don't
here.
Do it. It's not a lot. You're not going to be able to sell these NFTs either, buddy. It's not worth it.
So yeah, but other countries, even in maybe countries that are not so developed, and they're starting to use more cryptocurrency because of the government or whatever. That could be bad actors who could easily come in and, cartels kind of thing. Hey, I don't know, but I think it's a good idea. So
yeah, and maybe this solution isn't the one, but I like that we're moving that way,
Yeah.
It's yet to be determined, right?
It's yet to be determined.
Progress is progress. At least they're trying new things. Again, like Freilich said, maybe this is the answer, maybe it's not, but at least it's a step in the right direction, probably. And if it's a step in a wrong direction, that's still a step in the right direction because we figure out what not to do.
Well, I think eventually everybody's going to just have it on their phones. Anywho, that's the way everything is going to be on your phone, and just as long as your phone is biometrically locked. I mean, like I have an iPhone. Apple does not have my passwords because I use a seed phrase through Apple. So
now you've brought up the next topic that I was thinking about today, and it leads perfectly into this, which is I read an article the other day, not sure if you guys saw this, but it was entitled The iPhone Killer. And it was, it was a wearable that you wear. I couldn't quite
that was on TED Talk.
See, and they didn't go into detail but it essentially projects some sort of holographic image onto your hand.
Yeah.
And you can control your entire phone there. And I was wondering if anybody else saw that, what they thought about it.
I saw
Do they
it.
think that's the future?
I saw it.
Yeah?
It was on
what
TED.
Do you think?
It was on TED Talk. It was a TED Talk.
Yes, it was on TED Talk.
Yeah.
It looked like the guy that played Bernard on Westworld.
Right. Yeah. I saw it. He had like a little projector in his like left pocket. So I think it's interesting. They've been trying to do stuff like that for years, or similar stuff. Maybe not that advanced, obviously, because technology, everything's so small now, and connectivity and all that stuff. But that viewing of the information on your hand, that was you've seen the keyboards that they have, right? Put the little laser down on the table and it puts out a keyboard. But
yep,
I think it's pretty cool. I mean, it's kind of Star Trek-y, right? I mean, you click your little thing on your pocket, and I don't know if anybody's been into hospitals recently, but here in America, a lot of the nurses wear those. Very similar things to be able to talk to whoever they want in the hospital. So that's a communication device just like that. But these are attached to the internet and stuff. So those are really cool. I think it's going to take off. It's either that or something similar.
You talked about a scenario where all your crypto keys and everything was stored on your phone. Mm-hmm. Could you envision something where everybody walked around with a wearable type deal that would project the interface on there, and your keys would be stored on that.
I think the keys are going to be, it's like how they're trying to get rid of passwords now. They're trying to get rid of all passwords. I think that once the encryption gets going, it's all going to be biometric. They're going to be able to tell if it's you that's actually trying to get this information.
You don't think that through like advancements in technology, they'll also be able to hack better too, and maybe, like, I don't know. To me, I would feel safer probably keeping everything in cold storage.
I know, but these hackers go after big stuff. Have you? Hacking used to be very. Hacking used to be. I'm going to say something. Hacking used to be very popular for personal computers, right? People would get hacked all the time. PCs, a lot of viruses, a lot of stuff like that. A lot of that has dwindled down a lot because people are going after more money. They're going after hospitals. They're going after businesses with these, where you can lock people's computers, and they've been leaving the personal people alone because it's more difficult for less payoff. So these people are going to literally have to know. Yeah, go ahead.
In your scenario, all our cash would be stored in here. So I think it would be a big payday for someone to try to hack into that system and access everyone's.
It's big, shit. It's a problem. Now you can't even go.
The question I want to ask is, do you think that there's a possibility of being able to keep your stuff on
Absolutely.
Something connected to the internet and keep it safe?
Absolutely. I think there's big possibilities like that. Everything is going that way now. Anyways, so why not?
And I think this is the first attempt at that, right? I mean, imagine this service but linked to your wearable phone or whatever. And I don't know, I guess once you paired it once, but if you ever lost your device, like you said, there could be some sort of biometrics that's taken. These Apple Watches, they take so many different biometrics. I don't know if you guys have seen the commercial, but they can tell like when you're sleeping, they can tell what your heart rate is. They can tell if a woman's ovulating. It's like crazy sci-fi type stuff. And they say, remember, science fiction eventually becomes science. And it feels kind of like we're on the cusp of that. And maybe it always does, right? Maybe each generation feels like they're on the cusp of the next revolution. But I just think it's amazing. You look at all these individual technologies, whether it's robots or self-driving cars or AI, and you think about the possibilities when you marry these technologies together. And we know it's going to happen. And the possibilities are just limitless, and I think it's just such a cool time to be alive.
I think so.
Yeah, I agree, Scruff. I think that we all tend to. I'm sure every generation feels the same in a lot of ways, and they all feel like they're the most advanced society at that time. But we really do live in a crazy, like, out of control time for technological advancements. We went from a horse-drawn buggy to the moon in 100 years. That's a big leap.
Well, it is. It is a big leap, but.
And it's just gone crazier even since then.
Well, it was one small step.
Yeah, one
is what it was.
Yeah, everything gets smaller and faster. See, every iteration is getting smaller and faster. Baby. Yeah. So that, but the thing on TED Talk, when I watched the gentleman, I don't remember his name, but when I watched that,
Ted.
I was no, not Ted. When I watched it, I was like, okay, so he has a jacket on. I think he was talking about wearables, maybe as the whole jacket. I don't think that personal computer was as small as we may think it is, because he did not take that jacket off. It could have been in the lining of the jacket a small CPU or a small phone. He could have just had it connected to a phone through
in his pocket.
He actually said that it was not. That they said in the article that it was not a device that had to be connected to a phone.
Okay.
It was, the small device was the entire package, but I didn't actually see where it was. Mm-hmm. I thought it might have been the bracelet that was on his wrist.
No, it was
they didn't go into great detail on that.
It was up in his left-hand pocket on his jacket. It shined down on his hand. He pointed to it.
Okay, gotcha.
But then again, who wants to watch a movie on their hand? So I don't know if it's an iPhone killer.
They were talking about, it made me think of like the watches, right? Which the watches were a companion to the phone. You're not going to do everything on the watch that you would do on the phone because you need a screen. And I've heard people talking about wearable glasses. You've seen the big, huge glasses that put a screen right there in front of you. And I've seen, newer models that literally look just like sunglasses. So I don't know what form factor it's going to take. But regardless, I just think it's cool to sit there and think that we can, right now we just take our phone out of our pocket and we can do a fair amount of crypto and Web3 type stuff. But it could get even smaller, lighter, more portable. And I just thought it was kind of cool. Wondered what you guys thought. Fryler, did you see it at all? Or?
I saw a headline. I didn't get to see the actual product itself, but yeah, I thought it was cool. It's just, I didn't get to see the actual use case for it, but
I'll see.
I think
I'll see if I can find a TED Talk, and then I'll link it in the description since we put these on YouTube. So if somebody wants to watch that, I'll
probably go check it out later too.
I have always been into technology like that. I always thought it would be really cool to do stuff. And we used to, when I was younger, I would watch Star Trek: The Next Generation because that was like, I was in my 20s, I believe. And I always thought the tricorders and stuff like that were very cool. And our phones are smaller than the tricorders. They don't do medical stuff,
by the way,
but they do have infrared stuff you can put on your phone to check body temperature and all this stuff. So
and WebMD, so you can go figure out you have skin cancer.
My toe hurts.
By the way,
I'm dying.
A guy did create a tricorder. I didn't click on this article, but a guy created a tricorder that just like from Star Trek, but they said it does way more than a tricorder. And I think he did it using a Raspberry Pi and a I don't know, some sort of phone or something. But the other thing that I read that I actually did look into was the little Star Trek communicators that they have, the little logo that's right there that you can just tap and talk to whoever you want and things like that. They have made those.
Well, and that's what I was talking about. They have those in the hospital.
Talking about marketing them. And they've made food replicators, 3D printers that print food using food substances. So this is all kind of coming full circle to, essentially we're living in Star Trek. We may not be able to go, warp 9 or whatever, but there's a lot going on in the world.
I like it. I like it.
Bryce, how's it going?
Who do we got up here?
Didn't mean to cut you off, Stein.
Oh,
hey guys.
Hey, what's going on, man?
Hey, it's been a while since I've talked to you guys. Probably at least a week. I know it's been forever, but I wanted to toss out something I heard on another Twitter space on one of the Metaverse Mondays from Jay Crypto. I thought was interesting. They basically talked about the shifting of compute from your devices to others' devices. So for example, your phone has a processor, it has internet, NIC card, all that, in order to do the processing of information on your local device. In the future, though, that's becoming less and less relevant. And they gave a couple examples around how Moore's law is actually technically broken right now. Moore's law talks about this exponential rate, but unfortunately, it's going even faster than that, where software is now outpacing hardware. So what ends up happening is that because you need this incredibly powerful software, and a lot of companies themselves are owning that software, there's not really much of a need to put a lot of that stuff on your actual device. Rather, they just need internet. So if you've got really good internet infrastructure, all of the processing can be done off-site or in a remote location, and then they simply stream the minimal information that you need. That means you can get away with half of the components within the phone as they exist today. You still, of course, need a really good internet system set up or an entire infrastructure around it. But that makes it possible to go into an extreme when it comes to minimization.
Oh, I think so. Go ahead, Scruff.
Well, I was just going to say that's very similar to the GeForce Now, which is essentially cloud gaming, meaning that you can, for a fee monthly, you essentially can have a toaster for a computer, and you can connect up to these servers that NVIDIA has, and you can run a 4090 graphics card game through there. Now, they don't have a ton of titles just yet. They're still building it out. But you can run like Cyberpunk on your phone at 90 frames per second with just the hardware you have on your phone. And obviously that's not the only application. I think that's what he's talking about. So the ability to get things smaller, lighter, faster is definitely right there. And they've already proven it. I saw a guy that ran tests on it the other day, and I was amazed. He was on this little dinky laptop that it was like a Celeron processor or something crappy, and he's playing these games that are just so graphic intensive that you'd need a graphics card almost as big as the laptop. So yeah, I think they've only scratched that surface. Great point, man.
Yeah. Well, you know,
and then the other cool side of that, by the way, graphics cards should be hitting their peak about now in terms of the requirements. So the cost of getting top-end graphics cards should start dropping. And the rationale behind this is, well, you know that new game, what is it? Rewind, Replay, Redeploy? I can't quite remember. It's the one that looks extremely realistic. Like you can't tell that it's not body cam footage.
Mm-hmm.
We've hit realism, and we can do it with graphic cards today. Once you've hit realism, what else is there?
Yeah, man.
Why would you need a more powerful graphics card?
Yeah. Well, I wanted to get back to the phone thing or the virtual. I mean, I watch Network Chuck a lot, and he's always using virtual machines. Oh, if you don't have enough power on your computer, just do this. And I think that's basically what it is, right? And connectivity. Everything is being connected now. You can unless you go to like the Midwest United States or up in a forest or mountains here on the East Coast, you're going to have cell service quite often. I mean, I've traveled from one side of the United States to the other and only lost cell service in Texas. Because I was in West Texas, like not West Texas, but in between, where there is nothing.
Were you in Midland, Texas? Because that's where I grew up.
I went through I-10.
They call that West Texas, but It's not like El Paso.
No, I went through. I went from Miami up to Las Vegas, and I drove through I-10, and it was the longest state, 24 hours in one state. I was like, Jesus Christ, are we ever going to get out of this state?
That sounds like Wyoming, which also has no real good signal.
So you get a little scared. I mean, it's so weird, I get a little scared. I was in a place where I didn't have cell service. I was like, what happens? What happened now? What am I going to do? I don't have cell service, and then it was just like, nothing really to be scared of. I mean, we always used to, I'm older, so, we used to drive around with no cell phones anyways, but now it's kind of ridiculous. You get a little nervous. What happens if something happens to me out here? Well, if something happens to you, somebody will drive by, but you don't think about that.
I feel like all of those things you guys just talked about all together just add up to a really bullish case for the metaverse still. Even though everyone was getting kind of like, downtrodden on it because Disney abandoned their project or whatever, there's still a lot of work going into it. And I think that all those things are going to be really, really bullish factors for it. The removal of hardware requirements, the advancements of these devices, those cool goggles and things. I mean, it's all going to add up.
Well, we also have stuff like there was a lot of skeptics and a lot of fudders that have changed their mind about the new Apple eye goggles or whatever the fuck they're going to call them. They're coming out in June, right? They're coming out.
Eye goggles.
I don't know what they're called, but
EYE or I?
Augmented reality.
The augmented reality glasses and virtual reality glasses and stuff that they're coming out with at WWC or something, DC. I don't know what the hell it's called, but it's coming out next month, and from what I understand, it is supposed to be a game changer because Apple they will not come out and be the first unless they have tested their products and stole as many people as they can to work on this stuff. So, but I don't have
I don't have the
$3,000. I don't have the $3,000. They're going to be $3,000. So,
well, I'll have to wait for a generic version. But
we'll have to wait.
Still, technology is going that way. It'll get cheaper.
Yeah. So in a couple more years, 2 or 3 maybe years, you won't need computer monitors anymore. And that's gonna really take a dent into some of these companies. They make monitors. I mean, shit, they're all going to have to change. I mean, I got 3 32-inch monitors. Great. I have these glasses and I have as many monitors as I want. So
this is like a trend for us. So I mean, we're constantly as humans carting TVs off to the dump, like it was those giant box ones before. Now it's all the old thick plasma screens that get too hot so we can get I haven't changed TVs in like 10 years, but I see it all the time. It's just like it's like a merry-go-round for the TVs.
Well, I had bought a new TV and put it out in the living room for my mother, who I take care of, and she had an older one. It wasn't that old. It was a 42-inch. I gave her a 55, and it was a flat screen 42, right? But I forgot. I was like, let me move this thing, and I tried to pick it up, and I was like, oh, this thing is heavy. This thing is heavy.
Yeah, the older ones got flatter, but they weren't light yet.
No. And then I go to put the 55-inch up, and I was like, this thing's, you pick it up by yourself and hang it on the wall. That's what I did. So, go ahead, Trev. I'm sorry, cut you off, bud.
Oh no, it was nothing interesting. It was just like a quick little quip, and I don't recall. I lost it, so all good.
He's losing his thoughts, everybody. He's losing his brain, Scruffy.
Well, you squirreled me. You went in a little different place, and then I started thinking about getting hernias and all that crap. Yeah, so.
Getting hernias, nice. Oh, that's hilarious. Getting hernias. So, hey, we got 8 minutes left. Boy, time flew today. I'm going to be working on the basement today. I got to be working on my basement studio today. That's what I got to do. Putting down the subfloor. That's my day. What do you guys got planned?
You gonna play some Fortnite today, Scruff? You got a video?
I was just about to ask you the same thing. They just had a big Fortnite update, and I'm kind of interested because they've got some new quests, and they've also got ranked missions. But for the one that Fryler and I play, that it has to be doubles to be ranked. I don't know why they didn't do singles or triples or whatever, but it's got to be doubles. So, yeah, man, if you want to team up for a bit, it's raining. I was going to do some more stuff in the yard. I'm getting ready to do some fertilizing and some seeding and all that good stuff to try and get it going, but I'm out of luck today. So, yeah.
Man, yeah, rain day. I love rainy days when you've got a great video game or a good book and you're like, I'm locked into it, man. I've got nothing else to do. You know what I mean? So yes, to answer your question.
What the hell is that?
Oh, I love reading.
I'm just
a book.
But yeah, no, man, sometimes when you're reading a good book, it's better than living your own real life,
Sometimes when I'm reading a good tablet,
I was going to say,
stone tablet.
I'm reading a good web page.
Sometimes when I'm reading a good web page.
Kick back by the fire and read a nice good web page.
So Scruff, I want to say to you, I did get the DaVinci Resolve. I told you I bought it, but I got it in yesterday, the DaVinci Resolve Speed Deck. And it did come, it came with the new DaVinci Resolve 18 Studio. And
that's great.
Yeah.
Well, you can upgrade to 18.5. It's in beta right now.
Yeah, I did. I downloaded it and it went through perfectly. And I was really excited about that. So, yeah,
nice.
Man. Well, $300.
I'll DM you and ask you if certain features are unlocked because I've been told there are a few features in here, but they're not showing up for me, and I'm wondering if they're on the paid version. But
yeah, well, I know the text, the auto type, that's all the captions, auto captions.
That's the paid version.
Yeah, that's the paid version.
That's one of the main ones I wanted, actually.
Yeah, it works pretty good. I tested out on one of our 2 week link videos. It was all right. Missed a couple words, but that's okay. That's all right. But
I don't know if it's worth
good.
$300 for.
If anybody else uses DaVinci Resolve, buy the Speed Deck. They had it on Amazon, and it came with a DaVinci Resolve Studio, which is $300, and the Speed Deck is $400. So I mean, you could literally turn around and just sell the Speed Deck for $400, and you'd have a free version.
Because nobody will buy it for $400 because they want the paid version of Resolve.
Hey, so you guys, if you see Stein selling a deck, don't buy it.
Oh, come on!
Well,
no,
I'm just saying you could probably buy it. You could probably sell it for $100 to $200. But if you're not getting rid of the key, then
but only certain sellers on Amazon have the key with it. I could only find one.
Yeah,
and it wasn't through Black Magic Design. So I don't know.
No, they don't actually directly sell anything. They go through resellers,
right? So
like B&H Photo and stuff like that.
So it's good. I haven't tested it out yet. It's still in the box, but it's pretty cool. I hooked it up. I really enjoy it. All right, we're down to 4 minutes. Who wants to say what?
Scruff, I got to ask you a question.
By all means, sir. Fire away.
You're seeding and fertilizing now? This season?
No. I'm going to seed, and then I'm going to fertilize in about 3 or 4 weeks.
Supposed to do that in fall.
Yeah, because right now, if you put fertilizer down, you're fertilizing the weeds too. You're supposed to be killing the weeds off, establishing the roots, and then you wait to seed and then fertilize.
Yeah. No, I already did a round of weed and feed for one.
Okay.
I did a round. I'm in the South, and so like all our stuff happens
earlier,
a month or two before other places in the country. So I've already done that part. I'm actually probably going to aerate, and then I'm going to seed, and I'm going to water for about 3 or 4 weeks, and then I'm going to give another round of essentially fertilizer for the overseeding.
Well,
we finally made it to the crap part.
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
The last 3 minutes of the show, but we slipped it in there. You thought we forgot.
Here's what I love. I love that like 95% of the whole thing is super technology based, and we're getting into cloud computing and distributed and wearables and all that.
Wait, you're seeding when?
And the last, we're talking seed phrases and all that. And then the very last 5 minutes, it's like, really? You're doing your lawn wrong.
Yeah, you're doing your lawn wrong.
A bunch of lawn talk.
And I did buy some Ridex for my septic tank too. So I got to put that in today. You got to.
Well, that would be the crack.
That's the crack.
Clearly, that would be the crack.
All right.
Fertilizers.
All right, guys, we're getting down. You want to say anything before we sign off, Scruff?
Just everybody have a fantastic day. I'm looking forward to hopefully the next Kopi Cafe and maybe some more leaks. Josh, I believe, mentioned something about showing them actually racing. So
nice.
Fingers crossed.
Yes,
we'll see.
How about you there, Freiler?
Yeah, just want to thank everyone for coming out, showing up, listening to us talk about literally just whatever and crap. I mean, come on. If you guys are still coming for these shows, you guys are obviously just diehard supporters, and we can't thank you enough. So again, thank every single one of you guys. And thank you for having me on today, Corn Mafia Stein.
Oh, yes. Well, we had to put you on. It's in my contract.
Yeah, for 3 more episodes, you guys. They can't get rid of me.
So. I want to thank everybody for hanging in there with us today on this really weird Twitter space. But until next week, I don't know what we're going to talk about next week. Well, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out on Sunday or Monday, as we usually do. But I'm going to let you hear a very important message right now.
This has been a Corn Mafia Guild Twitter space with your hosts, Stein and Freiler. Please join us every Wednesday at the same time, 5 p.m. UTC. We would like to thank all of our guests for their insights and input on today's topics. We also would like to thank all of you, our listeners, for taking time out from your busy day to join us. A full audio version of this conversation will be provided on our YouTube channel. You can find out more about the Corn Mafia Guild at our website, cornmafiaguild.io. So, until next week, thank you again, and have a great day.